Hello, and welcome back to the Reloading Podcast. My name is Beard, and I am here again with the neutered dog.
Yes. Please help me.
I'm not, no, that's not. Now, as you can already hear in the background, thing is, today we are talking about Project NeuroCloud, which just had its third or second closed beta run, and which just ended yesterday as of the day of recording. But Naito didn't exactly get to play it. I got an account from an old friend of mine who got in, but he didn't. So we brought in some guests. Not one, not two, but three. Go and introduce yourselves. It's a free-for-all.
Hello, I'm Mars from Game Press, and I usually handle anything lore related to Girls Frontline or any of its upcoming games.
Alright.
Hi.
Kawa, Ari.
Oh. Who's next? Kawa's next.
It's a
Ari, you
free-for-all.
go first.
It's a free-for-all. You guys
Okay.
decide.
Hi, I'm ArikiraMod3, also from Game Press. I do map guides and write stupid guides that need updating every day.
You might be able to see a bit of a theme here.
Hi, my name is Kawa, not Kawa, actually. I'm sort of an independent contractor for Game Press. I data mine stuff, I do guides for Arknights, and will be probably doing for PNC when it comes out.
Yes.
Yeah.
Alright, that's pretty much it for everyone.
I can't believe I fuck up the name.
We have a varied
still.
cast. We have lore people, gameplay people, and people who do both.
Yes. And then there's me in the middle who's just like kind of there.
You experience the game a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, not a little bit. It was just a bunch of shit. So yeah.
How far did you get?
I got to the end of chapter 3.
Okay. So about halfway through the story.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't read any of the story, because Lord knows I'm not bothering with that. Like, it would have taken me unreasonably long to get that through Google Lens.
I got really close to the end of chapter 4.
I believe Kawa finished everything along with myself.
Yep.
We finished everything in Endless and all the nightmares and everything.
Not bad. I really hope my recording is loud enough. It always looks really low when recording on Audacity, but it's the same levels, so it's just nags me. Alright, anyways, anything specific we want to talk about really here, since we are already talking about PNC?
Something I really want to ask you guys is, what do you think about the state of completion of the game? Do you think it's like ready for release, or does it need some adjusting?
No,
Not at all close.
Yeah, same.
It does need a lot of work. It's something I already said on Twitter, like after as my first impressions. It really wants to be loved. There's just not a lot to love there. Which is to say, not that what we do have is bad. It's just that there's so little there.
I think what we have is pretty good in terms of, you know, what you can expect to see from a closed beta. The game is
Absolutely
more or
It's
less
really good,
completely put together. It's what they have to do now is iron out stuff like quality of life features.
Yeah,
and
they got to figure out all their
of course,
systems.
one of the biggest issues of the latest beta was balancing issues throughout the stages. I think there were some stages that people really had difficulty on, and there was a few in a couple of chapters, like chapter 5, where 5.4 and 5.13 were incredible stat checks beyond what was even reasonable for an average player to obtain.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't get so far. I did have. It did feel like there was like a bit too much plateauing going on for progression, meta progression, where the game
Yeah,
just kind of
especially
walled
with-
you behind just chunky shit. Mostly in farming
Yeah.
stages, honestly.
The
Because of
farming
the
stages,
first
yeah.
clear reward thing.
The biggest issue with the farming stages is the gold stages for most of the farming stuff weren't particularly difficult until you got to like the final level of a
Yeah.
farming stage, and that's when the difficulty really spiked.
Yeah.
So you couldn't really be efficient with your farming even if you wanted to, and that did really suck.
Yeah, that's one of the other things. It's you don't really have access to any efficient way of farming. It's always the next node that would be actually kind of useful to you, but to get there, you have to you have to farm. It forces you to be inefficient, and that sucks.
Right. The biggest criminal of that is probably the algorithm stages, because you're able to unlock the gold farming algorithm stages fairly early, but you don't have the strength to beat them yet. Is the problem?
I didn't do
'Cause
jack shit with algorithms.
You unlock the gold way sooner than you're able to beat them, especially the final one. And the final one is pretty hard, even when you're at the point where you can beat it. And the way it became easy, and a lot of the content later in the game became much easier, was using the factory to pump your professor experience up, so you could hit level 13
get level
and get
30
that big
and-
DPS.
Yeah,
Get that big ass DPS skill
you have that big
that just
fuck off
completely
rocket barrage.
decimates everything on the field. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't get there. I only got to level. I
Yeah.
only got to professor level 8.
I got to 9, I think. Let me look. I probably have a screenshot somewhere.
I don't.
So speaking of farming stages, I actually
Guys.
didn't really have a problem with clearing them. Like they were pretty easy.
Yeah, I didn't have.
Same.
Maybe.
Again, it's less of a. I did put it like the wrong way around. It's less of an issue of clearing them, more of an issue of getting to them. In an efficient way.
Yeah, where you have to clear story stages.
Yeah.
Which
Mhm.
I think in and of itself is a fine way to gate them off. It's just like
The gap between them
yeah,
needs to
the
be
gap
shorter.
needs to be shorter.
Yeah.
You need to have like access to XP 8 at like the end or middle point of chapter 3, something like that.
I think my main issue
Maybe not
with
8,
farming stages
but
was
definitely
the
at least halfway
efficiency.
through it.
Yeah. What was that, Kawa?
And
I said that my main issue with farming stages was the efficiency.
Yeah.
Because we get the first clear reward, and after that, the efficiency just basically goes to shit.
This is
Yeah.
something I did already point out in like the on the Discord server. Is that I think it also just feels kind of shit the way that the numbers work right now. Not because they're particularly poorly balanced. I think they're fine, but it doesn't feel very good because XP cards are worth a lot.
they are.
If
I think a
They
lot
are
of people
think
had
if-
hangups progressing through the beta because Neural Cloud's like current form very heavily emphasizes the first time rewards in order to be efficient. And once you deplete those, the efficiency drops considerably. Like the value of your keys goes down
Yeah.
to the floor. But
Yes,
if you keep your team like one of each class, then those first time rewards they do go a super long way.
Yeah. Especially
Yeah,
on
actually,
like
because
endless,
everybody's
right?
team.
Endless rewards are insane.
Yeah. Endless even through the chapters, because the
Yeah.
chapters reward
Especially later
the
on.
breakthrough material and
Oh, yeah.
bitcoins and XP.
That as well, yeah.
And the breakthrough material was one of the big ones, because
Yeah.
if you have one of each class, then the breakthrough materials you get while you're progressing through the story are enough to get a single of that class all the
Up
way
to
up
level 60.
without any problem.
Yeah.
And it becomes a very inefficient grind if you try to double stack classes early on.
I mean, to be fair, we did get those support packages with enough like tier 3 and tier 4 mats to get more.
I didn't use those though.
More on them.
By the time we started getting those, I already had my first team all the way potential broke. So
Fair enough. I didn't. Lord knows I fucking didn't. Anyways, before we keep going, we should probably talk about what the fuck the game even is. Because the audience might not be too enlightened on what PNC actually is, gameplay and meta-wise.
PNC is a roguelike auto chess game.
Which is the most wacky fucking genre combination ever, if I might fucking add. Because it's so idiosyncratic. It makes no fucking sense, but it works somehow. Mika.
It does. They're definitely lacking a little bit in variety of function cards,
especially.
But
function cards
as soon as they
battles,
give you some more variety, then I can see some really wacky combinations. Because in this testing period we just had, it was like really focused on stacking the hell out of your snipers.
Yeah.
As opposed to any other class. Like the second beta was about abusing the hell out of your specialists by stacking specialists and letting them completely take over the healing role.
I just run hash orb.
Can I add something?
And then this one was about stacking all the sniper cards that let you stack calculation power, attack damage, and all that good shit.
Can I add something?
You can
So
try.
I didn't know any descriptions, so I all translated them with this, screenshot.
Yeah, I just googled
translator.
it. I just googled it.
And
instead.
one of the cards said it really hurts.
Yeah, right. I do remember that.
It really hurts.
It just literally really hurts.
That was pretty good.
That was It had me like. Okay, so what's this other one? I was like, yeah, okay.
This
In
was
terms of picking cards, I went the illiterate way, so I just checked how much power it gave and picked the one that gives more.
I also went completely illiterate, and I only picked the percentage as well. But if it was a gold card, regardless of like what the percentage was, I always picked the gold cards because they're supposed to be good. No matter what the percentage is, supposed to be, and always picking them worked. So I guess they work.
I always picked what looked interesting to me, and I got through it. So
I just ran hash orb whenever it popped up.
Yes, hash orb. This thing right
Hash
here.
orb is fine.
Hash orb carried me so hard. I didn't know what it did until like chapter 4. I just knew that whenever I picked it and Groove buffed the team, everything started dying immediately.
Yeah. I do think they have to nerf it though, or at least make it appear like less.
I don't see. I don't know how you would nerf it though. Even if they put like a 1 second delay on it, it was tied to Groove's skill activation. So the only way it would really be nerfed, even with a cooldown on it, is if Groove was standing on a flower tile. Then it wouldn't proc constantly, but then it would still be just as good in every other chapter.
All right.
And the other card was the purple heal amount increased when you were low health. That card scaled insanely well when level.
I don't know which one you mean actually. I might have missed out on that one actually, because I took a
screenshot of it, but it was a green HP bar that was not full. It was like a quarter full, and it had the healing symbol on it. And whenever you leveled it up, the percentage that it would heal when you were lower health would increase by like 20% per level, and it would result in like a single heal from Persica, bringing you from 5% HP all the way to 100%.
Well, that's fucking great to know, having never picked that damn card.
It was a
I
very
almost always
life-saving
passed it up.
card for anyone running one healer.
Yeah, I only started running 2 healers on the last day when I pulled Jin live on stream. Which
couldn't get
I
that
at least got
last.
that going for me. I did get every doll, and I did get that one goddamn doll I wanted all the time on the last day.
Florence,
I didn't get
No,
one of them.
Jin.
Jin.
Yeah.
Oh, you wanted Jin? Okay.
Yeah, I want Jin. Jin is great. I mean, I'll take Florence any day of the week.
Yeah, I bet you would.
But yeah. Yeah, there. That's something else I want to talk about is the doll designs. I did talk about this quite a lot in on Livefire, but the designs are fantastic.
They are, and it's cyberspace, so you know they can get a little exaggerated and crazy with
exactly.
these designs now. They don't have to be entirely realistic.
I mean, even then, they're
that's-
dolls. They don't have to be entirely realistic in the first place.
Well, you know what I mean. They can have tools and
Yeah.
accessories that you wouldn't normally see in real life because they're in cyberspace.
Bro,
So
bro.
they can have all this crazy
Jin's
gear and-
briefcase was fucking awesome. It's like that deploy animation. That's fucking sick. I don't think any other doll had something like that. At least none of the ones I used. Because just him tossing down that briefcase and everything popping up from it, good shit.
Right.
But yeah, like it's not just that we have all these characters that we know as T-dolls in this game, but also that every single other doll you could just see as a doll that Griffin wouldn't roll.
Right.
I hope we get Sakuya at some point.
I overall just hope we get a lot of these dolls.
I'd like to see Evelyn because she's already a riot
Evelyn
officer
is
as her job.
basically
So she would fit in
already-
perfectly.
Yeah, she's basically just spasmed. Saul was another one I think would really work nicely. She's got some
Right.
she's got some big SMG or RF energy.
Yeah, she's quite literally has the high frequency blade. That's part of her thing. Is one of her swords is a high frequency blade.
I really gotta stop myself from throwing something in that doesn't have to do anything with this.
You don't.
Huh?
Just go for it.
Rules of nature! It had to happen. Okay?
Soul did get a buff. So if you had the right card, she sometimes did go full rules of nature.
Yeah.
Because
I did
there
like Saul,
were
actually.
cards
She wasn't
that
bad.
increased her attack speed and made her double attack, and if you had the right setup of warrior cards, she started cleaving stuff really easily. But she wasn't an assassin though. Soul's a bruiser, so she's kind of there to take some extra hits.
Meanwhile,
and
Betty
do
just
some
goes
passive
absolutely
damage.
fucking nuts on the other side of
Yeah.
the board.
Yeah, you have IDW, teleporting to the back, scratching things to death in one hit.
I swear to God, Betty is
That's
Betty is bad.
that's got to be like no. Betty's really good. Betty
yeah,
has to be
but-
like an inside joke at the
Yeah.
company at this point. Like we're gonna make IDW really good in this game.
Yeah. Oh, and she's going to stay base rarity just for kicks. Oh wait, she's
Right.
not. She's not. She's a 2-star, right?
Is she a 2-star?
Is Betty a 2 or a
Yeah.
1-star? She's a
I think
2-star,
she's a
right?
1.
She's 2-star, same as in GFL.
Ayo.
Okay,
Well,
so she kept her rarity across both games.
God damn.
So
It is interesting that this, well, the PNC uses the same rarity, the rarity structure as SFCAP, kind of. With the added half stars.
Well,
Yeah,
they start at SF starts at like 3-star, don't they? And
Yeah,
then you build
1,
them
2,
up to a
3.
5-star.
1, 2, 3, and you can get everything up to 5-star. Yeah. PNC just adds the half stars of HSCs in there as well, just for kicks. Which, I mean, I guess
Just
also applies.
they got
Oh,
the half stars.
What do you mean are the Hawks? The Hawks are half stars.
Yeah, Hawks are half stars. Hawks are half stars, and SF start from 1 to 3.
Yeah.
They added
And you
the
can
half
enhance
stars
everything
just
up to 5. So they're
Yeah,
kind of a mix
exactly.
between the two.
Oopsie.
Yep.
That's my mute buttons.
Oh no.
Anyways, I have...
One thing I didn't really like about the half-star system is just how much fragments you have to
Yeah.
farm for it.
Yeah.
that's another thing. The gacha economy is so fucking bad.
Yeah, that was.
At some like
The-
once
the
once
main-
you
yeah.
once you get a solid amount of characters, there's no point to pulling anymore.
The
Because-
biggest problem with the gacha right now is that once you get a dupe, it doesn't give you anything toward that specific
Dupes
character
are
is the
worthless.
problem.
So, dupes are
And-
worthless for character progression.
And it really feels like shit when one of the initial like 3 stars you get in the game, like Persicaria, Croak, are both in the gacha pool,
Yeah.
and you can pull them and they're 3 stars, and you don't get anything for them because you already have them since the start of the game. So you just get these
Persica
fragments.
is a 2-star, actually.
Who?
So only Croak. Persica is a 2-star.
Is she?
Really?
Oh, she is.
Oh,
So
yeah.
only Croak.
Yeah. And
She
also
sure as hell doesn't feel like
Persica, you have the upgrade program where you do quests for fragments.
Well, yeah. Now the question is if that's gonna return, or was that there for
Hopefully.
all the CBTs so far?
For
From-
the,
Now
the
From what I got,
fragments.
it was only here. Yeah.
It seems like
It's been the
like new,
same
but
for
it-
all the
new.
betas.
Okay.
Yeah, that's been a continuous problem for the betas.
I wasn't able to finish it, but I did get Persicaria to 5 stars.
Mm.
As like my last deed. Because holy shit, the servers were so bad close to shut
Yeah,
down.
the quest line
Holy
itself
fuck.
is new for Persicaria,
Mhm.
and it's a really great addition
It
because
is,
that lessens the strain of trying to build up the rest of your team by so much, not having to worry about a single character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Especially since Persica is so OP.
Yeah, she's the best healer in the game as of right now.
yeah. I mean, what do you
Yeah.
expect, really? To be fair, like, this is a PvE game, so balancing can kind of just go out the window, especially since we're talking about a roguelike, where, especially once we get more function cards, things are going to get wild. That's not a question. Like, people are going to come up with absolutely fucking bonkers builds.
Speaking of PvE, I think this like the battle format lends itself really well to PvP actually.
Yeah.
And that's something I'm really afraid of.
Yeah. I do feel like considering function cards, since we're already talking about getting, like, you know, more shit in, I do feel like there needs to be more stuff like Hashball, which just kind of changes the way attacks work for your team. Because that's that's a staple for a lot of roguelikes, right? It might not fit too, you know, you'd have to figure out how well it fits into the auto chess format.
Right.
But
Something that changes,
You know,
just
something
adds
that changes
because
your
that
attack.
hashball essentially adds something on to Groove's buff.
exactly,
Is what
right?
happens.
Because, you know, we need our version of Brimstone, for example, right? That's what I'm saying. If you're looking at other roguelikes like Binding of Isaac, we need our Brimstone. We need our whatever the fuck. I don't know any other roguelikes from the top of my head. God damn it. Or any other names for specific items, for that matter. Roguelikes are weird. But you know, that kind of stuff, right?
Right.
We need more modifiers, or not
Yeah, because
stat,
a lot
not
of
stat
what we had
modifiers,
are
but like,
a
but
lot
like
of what we had are
active
stat
modifiers.
We do have things like a % chance to silence a target when you're auto attacking them, and that ended up being really useful. But a majority of them are, like you said, just stat modifiers when something happens or when you do something.
Conditional stat modifiers, yeah.
Right.
Anyways, we haven't heard particularly much from the Night of the Dark. You got anything to say? It's 20.
No,
it's
not
almost
really,
half an hour in, and you haven't said jack shit.
I have said hello at times, I think, or something similar. But yeah, I can't really say too much about
Yeah.
PNC because I'm pretty much free out of any CN content except for Paradios.
Yeah. Kind of not the best choice of.
Although, yeah, I mean, the thing is, the most I can say is that the character designs are actually looking pretty nice. So,
Yeah.
there you go.
That's actually something we can kind of talk about is the character, the changes we've got for some of the character designs. I think Camellia got a pretty big design
got an
change.
art upgrade.
Yeah.
Fresno got an art upgrade.
Yeah,
where she
Fresno's
has
was
more-
really good.
It's really nice.
I do like the kind of blotchy style on her old art a lot as well. But it's pretty.
She definitely has more detail now. A lot more. She
It's pretty hard to argue
more
that
complete
it's
character.
worse now, at least.
Nanaka has got a complete makeover.
Nanaka got a complete
She went from looking like
I find these?
an
Yeah,
Idol
here.
Master reject to
we go.
a Christmas cake idol, as someone else put it.
Oh, that
was her
design
original
looks
design.
like. Oh, that design reminds me of
Do I
what's
have
her name?
somewhere else? I
in
don't
Goat's
think I do.
Frontline.
Who?
The idol gacha. Who was it?
HK45?
HK45.
Wait, give me a second. I'm looking.
AK-45, I think you mean. Our steampunk idol.
No, I mean.
Babushka. She is.
Yusa.
She is
Does anyone have her
dress
redesign? Because I don't have it up right now.
of Nanaka?
It reminds me of.
Nanaka, yeah.
It reminds me of the
She's-
Yusa skin, the idol skin.
Here we go.
And
This is loading.
just pull that up for Camellia as well while we're already
There is
Yeah,
Nanaka's.
there's new Nanaka, and this is old Camellia, literally just ripped straight out of Kankole. Like, you can't tell me that's not just straight up a Kankore aircraft carrier.
Dude, that's a flight deck.
Yeah,
I've seen enough
exactly.
of those.
Exactly. She's literally just an aircraft carrier.
I think it's supposed to be some kind of device related to agriculture, but
Yeah,
it does look like a rig.
it does look like a flight deck of sorts. I mean, it has like the grates for the vines on it and everything.
Right. I don't think.
But
I
hey,
have
just
the-
one
the
more
new
case of
version.
Type 64 being plagiarism. Onward. AK ripoffs aside, do you have her redesign? on hand?
It's somewhere. It's somewhere in the room.
Holy shit, they went horny on her. They went very horny on her. And so, like, when someone told me on live fire that she's actually Type 64, I was like, no. She's way too thick.
Here we go. I found it.
She's way too thick. But no. It is her.
There we go.
Yep.
It's not like clean file, but you get the idea.
Yeah.
The shield was really improved, but they definitely
Yeah.
went for something that was a little bit more horny.
Yeah. I mean, I don't fault them. They
rid
gotta
of
they gotta
the-
get some sort of horny in their games, which they already do a good job of.
My opinion is they
Admitting.
should have kept the stockings. In my opinion, so I think there's a little too much leg.
Yeah, I can see it. Man, I'm not complaining either way.
But I really like the shield. Like the new shield.
Yeah,
I
the
think
new shield is really nice.
Super cool.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I only tried her a few times in Anomaly.
I didn't
and
use her at all.
She didn't seem that great. The problem with tanks in Neurocloud right now is if you don't have a taunt, there's
You know, Clay just put her up
there's
on assist here.
there's very little that you can do to prevent damage as a tank without a taunt.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why Croak is so strong. Is her skill is the only taunt in the game.
Yeah, we do need more
Unfortunately, she can
taunts.
only use it once. But even only being able to use it once, it's still so incredibly useful that it just surpasses everything else any other tank can do right now.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just balancing stuff, you know. I do think that there should be some sort of class passives. But then again, if you have some more unique characters like V, it's like, how well are class passives gonna work?
Well, there is the friendship passives, and not everyone has good friendship bonuses, but some people have really good friendship bonuses where like all three of them are like really good stats for them. Like calculation stats, power, right? and HP. Yeah, they're all percentage stats. So if they get leveled up to 10, it is a pretty significant boost. It's just that some of them are not always a stat that's good for that particular character.
I'm talking more like passive skills for like each class. So like defenders have a taunt of sorts. Fighters, I don't fucking know, get an extra movement tick early on. Something like that, right?
Yeah.
Because as it is, enemies always get the first move tick. Right?
I think everybody keeps moving at the. I think everybody starts moving at like the exact same time. From what I found is,
because from what I see, it's all like if you have an enemy and a friendly occupying like or moving into the same tile, the enemy will always get first move.
Well,
no,
it kind of depends on what the move speed is.
Of the character.
Oh, it's move speed.
Because characters have individual move speed stats. So like Soul moves really quickly, and there were a few stages where I actually moved Soul further back so that she would properly move onto a buff tile. Like in Chapter 4, there's these like strongman buff tiles, and they're only in effect when you're actually standing on them. And one of the problems with Saul is she's actually really fast. So sometimes
she's gonna move off of them.
Yeah, if you put her right up at the front line, she would typically run past it to get to the enemy. But if you put her a little further back, then you were able to finagle her to stand on the tile once the battle started.
Encountered that, huh?
Mm-hmm. And enemies also.
These tiles were in Chapter 4, so
yeah. Enemies also always target whoever's closest to them when the battle starts.
Wait, I think I did clear Chapter 4. Now I don't remember quite.
Chapter 4 was
Enigma,
was
right?
the chapter, with the fire towers.
Yeah, then I got it. Then I got it. Yeah, then I got through Chapter 4.
Mm-hmm.
Because I did remember those tiles.
The thing I really liked in this beta and that I really looked into in depth was positioning, because it really is important how you position your dolls.
Even for stuff like counters.
Change the outcome of the battle. Yeah.
Very.
And
or Persica for that matter.
What was really interesting is with Fern's passive skill that spawns a summon. It actually prevents enemies from going to the tile that the summon spawns on, and takes a few seconds to spawn. So
does
really
it always spawn
in
the same spot? Like does it spawn a certain amount of tiles in front of Fern?
Yeah, I was gonna be like, is it relative or is it random?
No, it always spawns in front of her. But I don't actually know, because sometimes, depending on how you position her, it may spawn in a different tile close to Fern. So
which I would
it's
assume
definitely
is
something you can play around
occupied,
with.
Front tile is occupied, I would assume.
Yeah.
So basically, she wears like a teleporter.
A little bit.
Yeah, kind of.
God, fuck teleporters so much. Jesus.
If you had gotten to 5. Whew, there was a specific tile layout of Chapter 5 where the enemy side had 2 backline teleporters. And those 2 backline teleporters could either be a tank and a warrior, 2 tanks, or 2 warriors. And if it was 2 warriors, you should prepare to have your backline crit for about 7k like every attack. And it was brutal.
Oh god, I'm almost glad I didn't get to Chapter 5 now.
But the thing is is I don't know if it was the same for the chapters, but in Endless the tile layouts are not set in stone.
Yeah.
So if you were going through Endless, you could reset for good tile layouts. But I'm not sure if it was like that for story
really?
chapters. I never really paid attention. But it'd be nice if it was like that for story chapters. Because there were some.
I think it was like that in story.
Yeah, I can't say for sure if it was, but if it is, then that's a good thing. Because there were definitely some map layouts in 5's Endless that were really easy to handle the enemies for. And then there were some, like the double teleport layout, which were almost impossible. Where you had to run groove and reset heavily for dodge RNG. Or just pray that you didn't get crit. Because their crit rate was maxed out at 60%. So if you didn't have groove, you kind of just had to reset until you didn't get crit and die immediately.
Yeah, that's always the fun part in RNG in those kind of games. Especially when you get stuff like function cards that only proc that's like on specific percentages on specific events.
Actually, when I was pushing for chapter 5 depth 300 and below, I had to heavily reset because I would get often these double teleport maps.
Yeah.
And that was actually when I had the most fun with the game, like trying to figure out how to make, like what changes do I have to make to my positioning to make this strat work. It was really fun.
I did have a few of those moments myself, where I just had to like chip away at a boss at the very end of a floor, or even map, and it's just like, God, fucking damn it, it's always so close. And it's just like,
unit positioning is definitely going to play a really big part in min-maxing, those end game stages, because it's not always about making sure the tank take hits. It's really beneficial to know just how much punishment each of your characters can take, because if you can let Persica tank something for 1 or 2 hits before whatever's hitting her gets killed, then you should do that instead of letting Croak die every single run.
Yeah.
Actually, a fun thing with that is I was using Fresno for all of the stages, and she has a passive where if she's about to take damage, she negates the damage and teleports away to a random tile. It was really cool because in chapter 5 you have these corrupted snipers that hit for like 20k on their skill, and Fresnel would just dodge those like nothing.
One of the things I discovered about those snipers was if you enter bullet time by clicking on an ultimate and just not clicking on who it goes to, like Persica's heal.
Yeah.
If you go into bullet time and you wait until that sniper shot goes off, if you use her ultimate on the person that's about to get hit in like one shot by that sniper shot, and you heal them right before it hits them, it'll negate the shot entirely.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
I wonder if that. Now I almost wonder if that's intentional.
I don't know if that's intentional, but it definitely saved a few of my runs.
It's surprise mechanics.
Yeah, for sure.
Iframe.
Definitely a lot of surprise mechanics. There was quite a few different hidden mechanics that proved useful, like using the level 13 professor skill, but marking a high priority target beforehand with the professor mark.
Oh God.
That made it take even more damage from the nuke.
Fuck.
So that was actually a big strategy in pushing through Chapter 5's Endless, you would mark the corrupted sniper, and then you would blow the professor skill to try to nuke it down.
If I can find a clip of Professor Level 13 skill, I'm gonna put it up right now for those watching on YouTube.
Oh, I have it actually.
Sweet.
And it's got hashball in it too.
Oh fuck yeah!
I believe in hashball supremacy.
Yeah, but what did I want to say? God damn it, I forgot what I want to say. I guess let's move on. I guess. Mars, I think you kind of read it. Story? Question mark. Did you read the story? Did anyone here read the story?
No, but I got filled in on a lot of what it was.
Yeah, that's about what I expected.
No one read the story.
Absolutely
too.
no one read
All
the
of us
story.
are illiterate.
I don't think anyone here speaks Chinese, so probably not.
Fair.
But I did get like the large run through
Okay.
by someone who does, and I can pretty much fill you in on like any chapter, at least to give you the brass tacks.
No, yeah, just hit us, I guess.
All right. So the story changed a little bit from CBT2. CBT2 starts off with something going wrong in the neural cloud sector, and everybody in the test gets punted out to different sectors, and nobody knows why. And the one who basically saved everyone was Anatonia, the cyber specialist we have from 42 Lab. She was the one who basically got everyone punted out when some unexpected error went wrong.
Nope. And Mars muted himself.
Rest in peace.
Sorry about that.
All good. Don't worry.
And so the story of before in previous tests was the professor uploads their mind to the mega server to help these dolls who get sent off to different places, and you go around to collect them. But the big difference of the third testing period is that you start in 2060 instead of 2055 with the real Persica, and you are playing the role of a commander from Griffin. And you're essentially being put into this machine where you're being fed the memories of the professor who has been lost in the mega server. But there is still, their memories are still obtained by Persica somehow 2 years later. And she's feeding it to you through a machine. And all the events of chapter 1 that you witness basically take place in the span of 1 minute in reality. So there's a lot of time dilation taking place when these memories are being fed into the commander's brain.
I mean, you would expect so from a super server, right? From cyberspace on a super server.
And it's essentially there's 42 Lab claimed that the neural cloud test was successful. They sold the technology to IOP, but the reality is that the test was not successful. None of the dolls came back safely, and the professor who went in to try to save them was reported dead.
And that's
like
all
the
the stuff we
of
have.
like the tutorial.
Okay.
No, that's just the tutorial.
Oh yeah, no. I meant all the stuff in like with how it connects to the teaser stuff we got, right?
Right. Like
I'd expect
the
that a lot of that,
CLR
clear
event recording that we had uncovered.
The clear event.
That actually directly links to it because that initial teaser said a Griffin commander originally found it. So
okay.
Yeah, so that actually linked up.
I didn't
Surprisingly
actually know
well.
that.
Yeah. There's a conspiracy theory going around, that the commander from Griffin is actually Ange, and this is like her and Persica's origin story.
Okay, that's spicy. But I could see it. That would
because
be,
it takes place before Girls Frontline, and when Girls Frontline starts, Persica and Ange are already friends.
They're already
but we don't know.
tight, yeah. We don't know why.
She even entrusted the AR team to Ange at the start of the game, and we still don't know why.
Right? That's the prologue.
Prologue and chapter 0 is when you
Right.
find out that Ange was actually there at Safe House 3.
Yeah.
And we never find out how they became friends. We're just told that they are friends.
That would be a wild way to go into it.
Right. So the theory is that this commander is actually Ange, and because there's time dilation,
commander. Right.
Yeah, because there's time dilation at play, Ange could theoretically experience all the events of Project Neural Cloud in a very short amount of time in reality.
Yeah. That do make you think, though.
Yeah, it does make you think, doesn't it? But
And then there was one thing about the teasers that kind of caught my attention. I think I put this everywhere. It's a super crackpot, like, surface level thing.
mm-hmm.
But the Sanctifier desktop,
Right.
one of the files has I don't know if I have it right anywhere sitting on my desktop right now. I think I don't. God damn it! I think I
know
just
what you're talking
cleared
Uh,
it.
I might.
I know
have
what you're talking about. I have it.
Oh, I got it,
because
I got it, I got it.
I have threads of it.
Got it. So you have like 3 files. One of them, the Project Sanctifier PID thing. That's the one we see, which is
Right.
like the other file we got in that
Right.
leak. We have STF Mara Draft V2, which what do we have anything on that? Really?
Mara is a mid-level. No, she. I'm not sure if she's
She's
mid-level.
a high-ranking.
She's a
sanctifier.
high-ranking sanctifier,
Okay.
and she's the boss of Chapter 1, and I
Oh,
believe
okay.
she comes back in one of the endless modes as a boss.
Okay.
And
I didn't know that.
The third one is like a really, I forget what language it is, but it's another way to write Gabriel. Basically, Gabriel is
Okay.
another sanctifier.
Yeah, and that's
boss.
another Sanctifier. Okay. Well, that
Gabriel
there's that
is the
crackpot
high
theory
level
gone.
sanctifier from Chapter 4.
Oh, okay. Well, there's that crackpot theory gone. Let's not go into that then.
Were you thinking about Gavril?
Yeah.
Yeah, Gavril. That was the initial thought too when this
Yeah.
was first released. And then
Okay, thank God
it
I'm not
turns
the
out
only
that
one who
it's-
thought about that.
It's
then.
probably Gabriel, and it was funny to find out actually that her wings are claws, and she makes a joke about it by saying, "Did you think I was just an archer?" when she switches modes, because her real form is actually as a melee.
Oh. She was what? Did you say chapter 5?
Chapter 4.
4.
Mm-hmm.
I might have just not noticed.
Yeah,
then.
she's a DPS check in Chapter 4 where she teleports to the closest unit and she starts doing percent-based HP every second.
Well, it's either a DPS check or a
Oh
healing check.
god.
Right,
I
or
remember
a healing
that.
check. If you have really good healing cards or like 2 healers, you were probably able to just heal through it.
That
Because
fight,
that
if you
damage
have-
she does was definitely nerfed compared to the other
That's-
beta.
If you have 2 ult stacks, you can use Persica's ult and heal through it.
that fight tilted me so hard.
The intended way to do it is you were supposed to get her to stand near one of those red towers, and after she took a few hits from the red tower by standing in it, it would stun her. So that was like the mechanic that you were supposed to do to get through that.
I think I either didn't get there or I just managed to brute force my way through her.
Yeah.
Because I do not remember fighting her
Repressed
at all.
memories.
It seems a lot of people just kind of brute force through mechanics they were otherwise supposed to do.
Like, Lord, I don't remember it.
I remember she just suddenly kills my Sakuya really fucking fast, and I'm like, oh no, what's happening? And then I reset so often, I don't even know. But at some point I actually killed her, and I was like, okay, well that's done.
I do like that Sanctifier has like these personifications in the cyberspace, and you know they're all angel based, which makes sense.
Right. That's actually like,
there's-
a big part, or a big part of like the story, or will be eventually, is why does Sanctifier have, you know, emotions and personalities like humans, when realistically as an antivirus you would think that they wouldn't need that.
Yeah,
And
and probably
Beelnith,
let's be real, that's probably also going to tie into dolls somehow.
Beelnith, the boss of Chapter 3, is actually a Sanctifier that takes quite a liking to the
that
42
one.
Lab crew. Yeah, she takes quite a liking to the professor and to the 42 Lab crew, and she's up to some things that aren't particularly clear now, but she's definitely one of the outliers of Sanctifier who know what's up and like knows what she is, and is kind of trying to free herself from the control of the system, in a way.
I mean, shit. I don't quite remember. Basically, the entire point is that Sanctifier is kind of going rogue, right?
Not entirely. For the most part, there definitely is like some deeper like plan at play here. But for the most part, Sanctifier is really just doing its job, because when these dolls get flung out of the 42 lab sector and into these other sectors, the system is regarding them as aberrant
malware?
AIs.
Okay.
As aberrant AIs. And Sanctifier is kind of just showing up
Yeah, that's just kind of
to
its job,
remedy
okay.
things that shouldn't be there.
Yeah, that's its job, right?
And for Sanctifiers, they mentioned that they've been around for hundreds of years. So, like,
Time relation.
you kind of get like a weird perspective of the time like dilation going on in the super server, where the Sanctifiers, to them, they've been around for hundreds of years, but in reality, they've probably only been around for like a year or two, you know?
At most, probably even.
Right.
Like, some of them might have only iterated like a month or so ago.
They appear to have a backup system in play, just like dolls do. Like, when they die, they respawn at their headquarters, which is the Inver Tower of Babylon. You've probably seen that promotional image.
Yeah.
Right. That is their headquarters, and they respawn there when they die.
Oh, good
They
lord.
respawn from their quote sacred text is what they call it.
So many fucking images I'm gonna have to sift through if I remember to edit them in. No promises.
And if something happens to their sacred text, basically they can't respawn, and they're
Which
permadead.
is probably just straight up the source code.
Yeah, either their source code or their backup or
Yeah.
whatever it turns out being, but their sacred text is basically their lifeline to respawning.
Yep.
And
that's
only
the
high
Inver
level
Tower of Babel.
sanctifiers are able to even get access to them. In the story itself, each sector has like its own like little theme about AI, you know? Like chapter 1 is, chapter 1's administrator is named Turing, and
Hey.
the theme of that chapter is unsurprisingly about the Turing test, where she's trying to create her own AI that's very human like.
Yeah.
And that's like the theme of that chapter. And then chapter 2
Also fitting for
is-
42 lab, since it's their
Right.
chapter, their sector, right?
Yeah. Sector 2 is Cyclopus, which is a Svarog sector. And this is where it starts to get a bit twisted, where it's like the dark side of like AI,
Oh, yeah.
philosophy.
What do you expect from Svarog?
Where all of their dolls, including Croak and Simo and any other doll we have, they're built with a defect that causes them a great amount of pain whenever they harm a human. But the thing in Cyclopus is that this pain gets lessened when they're sent on these simulations against humans whenever they get a high score. So the better they are at killing humans, the less their pain is. And that's where it starts to get dark.
That's a bit hard to wrap your head around as a concept.
It is.
It's like
There is the-
basically it's basically training them to persevere through the pain, right?
That or well, a lot of the NPC or AIs in Cyclopus tend to start having breakdowns, because I guess the pain is so severe that when they keep getting sent on these operations, it just becomes unbearable.
Yeah, exactly.
But it does get mentioned that if their score is high enough, it becomes lessened. So there is like this sick implication that Svarog is trying to create an AI that associates pain with death. So they know death equals pain, and if they're good at causing it, then they don't feel as much pain.
I'm just
Kilobots.
let that sink in for a second.
Gets a little dark, a little bit, just a little bit.
What do you expect? What the fuck do you expect?
Just a little bit. Helios is another Svarog sector, and it's
also
not as
Svarog.
dark. Yeah, it's not as dark. It's a little more of it's unethical, I'd say, but it's more of like a practical unethically.
Gee, Svarog. Gee,
Because
Svarog, why does
they're-
42 Lab let you have 2 sectors?
Because they're testing the NOAA reactor, which is a reactor that will attempt to use collapsed fluid as an energy source.
Oh, that's gonna end well.
Right. Well, they're at least running simulations before they create the
Yeah,
the
fair.
real thing. And unfortunately, these simulations have failed over like 1,000,000 times.
Chernobyl.
Right. They have multiple reactors set up in the sector, and every time one of them melts down, the sector gets reset from square one, and they all restart all over again. And that's kind of like what the hook for the sector is
To be
that
fair, what the
Beelnith
fuck?
allows one of the AIs to retain their memory through these resets.
Yeah, like, how the fuck do you expect? How the fuck do you expect a collapsed fluid reactor to work?
I'm not sure, but they're definitely trying.
Because, like, I guess unless you give it very specific instructions, it's just gonna take apart the reactor itself, isn't it?
Well, technically, collapsed fluid is an energy source for relic technology, so it's already meant to be an energy source. The
Fair.
problem is that humans need to figure out how to utilize it for that purpose.
Fair.
And that's a little something the AU figures out for themselves, but that's another discussion entirely.
Who? Oh, the Antarctic Union. Okay, yeah, with
Yeah,
city,
yeah,
right.
Yeah, the Antarctic Union.
Yeah, let's not go into that for now. We're trying to
that's
stay
bakery girl
spoiler free
technology.
from RC here.
Right. But you'll notice as you go through the story of PNC is it's all related to AI development in one form or another, either creating it or nurturing its development or even abusing its development for personal gains.
Cyber media sector is just going to be a 24/7 rave.
Probably. Purities is chapter 5, and that was the art sector, and that one deals with concepts of AI development, but it's in the fashion of if an AI creating art is truly creating something unique, or if they're just creating something based on a computed algorithm from what they've seen, so it raises that question is if an AI can truly create something original and unique, or if they can only create something that's been computed.
I mean, it's a relatively old question when it comes to AI. Wonder what other sectors are gonna have in store then. I'm surprised we got this much. Like we got like going back to chapter 1, I guess, sector 1. That we kind of already got cleared up on the clear event. That's kind of weird, honestly, because that felt more like a climactic thing. I mean, I guess it also makes sense to place in the tutorial in that for that
right.
matter,
Well,
because,
Perska's also trying to find someone called C, who is, I guess, presumably the one who sent that CLR event message, and the crazy schizos over in lower room thought that C was Lyco just because he has a C in his name.
I'm not even surprised anymore. God fucking damn it.
And I don't subscribe to that because it's a little far fetched, and it doesn't really pan out with what we know of Lyco and Perska's relationship. Like at this point in time in 2060, she shouldn't need to like try to find him because the butterfly incident hasn't happened yet. So he should still be alive and well, sending her messages from SF.
Yeah. Ah, shit, I forgot his name again. I keep forgetting this one fucking guy's name from Backhouse. Sai, help me here for a second. I know we struggled with this on the 5th episode already.
Which one?
The fucking shit.
Yes.
The name of the guy, like Mendo's superior in Bakehouse.
Oh fuck.
Mitas, right?
Yeah.
Fuck. Yeah, what I was gonna say,
That
like
sounds
next you're
good.
gonna tell me that fucking Mitas is William. We're already gonna keep up with these fucking name shits.
Well, speaking of William, if you remember the second PV, when
I do
the
not.
when the screen flashed by of the announcement of an investigation into Ultimate Life's mind uploading technology, there was a name listed there. I'll find it. There was a name listed there that said the investigator was a Dr. Tessier Winter, and there are some theories that claim that Tessier Winter will end up being William.
Probably. That is his name, right? Or that part of his name, I think.
What, William?
Yeah.
It's well, I'm not gonna say anything because that's spoilers. But
Fair
yeah,
enough.
William is the name everyone knows him by.
Yeah. I mean, that's because that's mostly because CBG, right? Because that's who he appears as in CBG.
Yeah, and he did finally get name dropped in Shattered Connection by Perska. So that's what everyone will know him as right now. And
I swear to fucking God, if William, I'm saying this now, I'm putting this down now. If William gets confirmed as father, I'm leaving the intro for the episode after that to Naito. He gets
What the
that.
fuck?
I'll
it's gonna become
I'm putting that on the
Paradise Reloading.
I will just say join Paradios and end the stream.
fair enough.
Paradise takes over Reloading.
I'll leave it to you. Because I know I keep saying this over and over again, almost every fucking time it comes up. It just doesn't make sense in my mind, because unless this man is so hyper focused, which I'm not gonna put past him, he's just completely abandoning all meaning of political ideology to meet his goal. Which, to be fair, given what Persica said about him, not something I'd put past him. But the rapid switching between, like, from 90 Wish to potentially Paradeus to back to the UNRC, that just doesn't.
Well, the URNC affiliation has never really been something that's been confirmed with him. Always just kind of suspected, because back in CT, one of his Nidos, said their slogan straight up.
The UNRC doesn't even exist yet, though.
Yeah, it doesn't even exist yet, but the Prometheans do, and
Fair.
They're like the shadow group, setting everything up from the background.
He is part of what was again I forgot the name of the goddamn project. He does appear in CBG because of it.
Right.
I forgot the
Three
name.
Goddess project.
Yeah, Three Goddess is right, and that's
Right.
that's a UNRC thing, right?
Yeah, that's a URNC. It's just not really. We don't know if he's part of it yet.
Yeah, that's
you
just
know
the
what I
thing,
mean?
because Paradeus are kind of anti-Resartrism, right?
No, not necessarily. It's like there's
least
there's
they're
no
kind of-
direct
that's kind of the
there's no
alignment they've
direct
taken.
confirmation of their like
take an
affiliation, but the actions they take sometimes like weirdly
Exactly.
line up with each other, and sometimes they don't. So you're kind of left with are they actually working together or not?
I mean, to be fair, we don't exactly know a lot about Paradeus yet, like about a lot of their actions, and they mostly become more prominent in later events from here on out.
Right, you'll start to
So,
find out a
like,
lot more about them.
DR
and
and MS.
yeah, dual randomness and mirror stage. That's definitely where the
fantastic.
Paradeus angle starts to pick up and become something much more prominent
I mean,
in the
but
story.
given from the implication there alone, they are kind of pushing more on.
Yeah,
the
it is.
surface,
It
right?
is.
Because
It is
the
pushing the
European-
angle a little bit.
the-
Like if
the
you think back to Isomer, he William had Nimigan and Murky Rose kidnap Gilda Ulrich, and in a weird, kind of turn of events, he didn't kill her. He used her as a bargaining chip to get information, but after that, he just had Murky Rose, or he just had Nimigan leave her unharmed completely, and for a long time
There we
that
know.
was, that's at the end of Isomer, and that's kind of what,
Isomer. Okay,
Isomer.
I blacked out there for a second.
Yeah, that's an Isomer where Ulrich gets kidnapped and she gets used as a bargaining chip against the new Soviet Union to learn some locations of different pike nodes.
But yeah, like that's again, that's just the thing. The way they, again, it's I don't know enough about DR and MS, and I'm gonna be perfectly complicit in that because I want to experience the shit for myself.
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
I'm-
We won't
I'm not-
dip into that. However, do you mind if we dip a bit into confidential files too? I know you haven't read it, but do you
Con files are
consider
fine.
that?
Con files
Okay.
are off limits because they're
Okay.
or not. They're fair play because they're
They're
Con files-
openly available.
Con files
Yeah.
2 Con files 2 released after Isomer, right?
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so they're
somewhere.
fine. They're good play.
So
Yep.
like one of the theories that has popped up lately is that maybe William isn't father, not like completely unrelated to him, but that it might be somebody else, someone called Mikhail Svigan. I don't know how to pronounce his name. I'll just type it. And he's known as Misha, and he is a very old and a very high-ranking member of the new Soviet Union. And if you go through all the dates where he's been active in the confidential files too, he'd be over 120 years old now. And it actually does mention in the narration that this man doesn't age. That he intentionally makes himself look older to divert suspicion.
That's a go.
And here's where it starts getting creepy. He's divorced, right? And he had 2 kids that he sent off with his divorced ex-wife. Now the theory is that this ex-wife remarries into Rudolf von Oberstein, and that's how we get William in Lunacia. So the theory is that
Oberstein,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Oberstein.
Lunacia von Oberstein. So the theory is that Misha is actually the father of William and Lunacia.
And to be fair, William has some weird age thing going on as well, right? How old
I'm not
is
sure,
he? How
because
old is he
we
at the point of
we've-
like 90 lab. Do we know that?
We don't know anything about his age in Girls Frontline. This is including everything current. Is just we don't know anything really about him besides William.
I mean, if we get something in PNC, then
Yeah, that would be a big
that
would be a big moment for
pretty
sure.
big moment because
Yeah, we don't know his age. Persica doesn't know his age.
Because
Persica
the
doesn't
fact
know
is
what
we-
he looks like. She's never even heard his real voice. This man talks with a voice modifier every time he talked to somebody in 90
If the fucker
Wish.
appears in Neural Cloud, then we know. What's the time? What's the time for Neural Cloud again?
2058
2055,
is
right? 58.
2058. Yeah.
So 2
is
years
when the
before
test takes
JFL,
place.
right? Roughly.
Roughly, yeah. But GFL starts in 2061, so it's like 2 years, give or take a few months, because we need to account
And
for
then
the
it's
6 months
30 years till
from
CBG?
Butterfly.
Slash
Yeah,
RC.
yeah, because
So that means
we're
the
in,
guy
we're in
is at least,
2060.
like, by the
We're in
time
2064 now in GFL. So
So
GFL 2 takes place in the 2070s,
if we assume he's
and
a
then
really old fucker, then by the time of or by the time of PNC, he's probably like 50. 50 or
Yeah,
40, something like
50,
that.
50, 60s is probably good ballpark for William.
Because in CBG he does look fairly old.
Yeah, he does look fairly old. And
So
I don't think we
would
ever
guess
really
him to
get
be
anything.
like somewhere around 70, 80, given that at this point medicine has probably improved a fair bit.
Right, and let's not forget in Bakery Girl, he has special candy or whatever that brings a little girl back from being exploded by a tank.
Oh no.
Yeah, she gets
I
blown to
remember
bits,
that.
and
I
William
actually-
uses a special something to make her cells
I actually
accelerate
haven't gotten to
their
that point yet.
growth, and she she regenerates.
I actually haven't gotten to that point yet. I think I'm stuck on mission 7 is when I stopped playing. The night infiltration.
Is that the one with the Elids that one shot you?
Oh no, that's the one after that. Before
Okay,
that.
chapter 8. Chapter 8 is the
8
one
then.
with that, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the one
That's-
after the Type D elids.
Yeah, that's definitely like something everyone's looking forward to in the remake is the Type D.
Yeah,
units.
I am looking forward to that so much because
Just
honestly,
what are
like,
they gonna look like? Oh, we're gonna finally get HD art and everything
Yeah.
with them.
And
It's
I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it right here. That fucking mission is by far one of the scariest gaming experiences I've ever had.
right. It's
It's fucking
it's
intense.
pixel 2D, but it's also very creepy because there's no
Yeah.
music.
There's no
and
music,
You
there's only
have
the
very
ambient
limited line of
noise.
sight.
You have almost no context for the setting except for what the confidential file or the secret document in the same stage gives you, and the small bit of exposition that Mendo gives you about yellow zones. Which this is a yellow zone, right? Yellow or
Yeah.
yellow zone.
I believe it's a yellow zone.
You have like some of the leftover radiation. You have corpses lying everywhere. And then there's just these motherfucking giant fucking mutant thingies
Yeah,
that just
just
run around, make super
disgusting-
grotesque sounds, and
Yeah.
holy shit. Type
When they
elids
catch
are
up to you, they
metal as
just-
fuck.
They just grab you and you go down. That's it. There's no fighting them. I think you can actually like kill one of them like very difficultly by
Yeah.
placing
a
a
lot of
bunch
ammo
of
for
turrets
that.
around.
Or that.
Yeah, you need like turrets and shit like that. It's definitely like a cheese. Like you're not meant to be able to.
I swear to God, if RC doesn't have a Killid Type D Illid achievement, I am personally flying to Shanghai and slapping Yuzhong in the face. Because that has to be in the game. That has to be like a high ranking achievement.
Oh, for sure.
Because we have those now.
Right, and it's
As
on
also-
Steam, so
Yeah,
there'll
exactly.
probably
It's
be-
on
there'll probably
Steam.
be
It's
achievements.
on Switch. That doesn't matter. That doesn't have achievements. Mobile doesn't have achievements. Okay, well, whatever. Actually, mobile does have achievements.
Well, yeah. Even NeuralCloud has built-in achievement system.
Oh,
now.
well, yeah, but there's
And
also
that's-
Google Play.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Google Play does have
I
achievements.
don't know
in
if
and of
Apple.
itself.
I don't know if Apple does though.
I think it does. They do. I think they do. That might be a bit older already though, so it might not be supported anymore. Since Apple did a lot of like restructuring shit.
Right. Well, it can be built in like PNC.
Yeah.
Because a lot of
Mac-
PNC's like free currency comes from the achievements too.
Yeah. I know this isn't gonna happen, but while we're already on like achievements and RC, like, how fucking cool would it be to get Baghouse in there as like a full completion bonus? For like getting all 3 routes on emergency and normal from start to finish.
It might be possible.
That would be a fucking sick completion bonus. Like getting all the secret documents and on all runs, on all 6 runs. Would be sick. Nah, just my wishful thinking. I am hopeless. Come on.
It's kind of sad. I literally have nothing to say about law stuff, so.
Am I gonna really go back into deep lore again?
Oh no.
I don't want to go off into deep lore on one of these again, but it's It's just a topic I've gotten so passionate about. It's what I'm doing my GP as, if anyone was wondering.
Right, I mean, I could talk about lore for the next 3 hours.
I mean,
but,
I'm putting a difference here between lore and deep lore. I think I personally do the semantic split between deep lore and lore, where deep lore is meta stuff, and it goes back beyond what most people would know, or could viably
very like obscure details, like the one-off line of a terrorist group named Pandora in 1992. Like that's one of those things from CF2 where it's like you kind of just like gloss over, because it's not talked about a lot, you know.
I mean, that's like small detail stuff, but I'd still just call that lore. Again, deep lore for me is meta stuff is what I would call deep lore.
So what would an example of that be?
All the shit I've been finding.
Oh, you mean just about the company? And
yeah, all the meta stuff, like things that go back into the background, under the hood. Right. For example, just earlier today, this is something I posted. It's like, yo, there's this one post on Yuzhong's old blog. It has a picture of all like the full copies of Bakehouse and its OST, and that's fucking awesome. Right,
you get to see how the idea evolved, so to speak.
And in that same post, he wrote that he actually like put a lot of effort into the OST, like the physical product, because the disc were actually pressed professionally rather than burned, and they even had like a full print on them, so we're like actually pretty high quality. And when he burnt the DVDs for the game himself, which is like to save costs on that, he used DVD ROMs, which made the save feature not work because of the write protection on burned DVD ROMs. So for the save feature to work, you would actually have to copy the game files over to your hard drive and run it from there, so that the save feature would work. So yes, from the beginning, Mika things. Just Mika things.
Right. I think when the Bakery Girl game first got translated,
but yeah, there's
and the patch was applied, there was a save issue on chapter 5 that needed to get patched, and it did get patched really quickly by a completely anonymous person, and so that was nice. The only bad thing is if you had a save after that point, you had to start over.
Yeah, I did have a few of those. Like while I was doing the patch for Bakehouse, I had a few of those occasions where, like, because I was editing the game files, that if I had a save in a chapter that I had edited, that save would break. Because like the spot that it saved me at was different from the spot that the script was now at, that it was reading now. So basically it was in a different line now than what it saved at, despite still being in the same location. And it really didn't like that. Anyways, this is a PNC episode. Anything more on PNC?
Right. I can talk a little about what I thought of each chapter as far as like game balance and difficulty went.
I'll be real. I gotta use the bathroom real quick. You guys go on.
Okay. Well, everybody's probably gonna have different opinions, obviously, because they did different things than me. But since I stuck with the one of each class strategy, I think it ended up being a little bit easier because I didn't have to worry about farming for potential break and everything like that. Everything was kind of consistently leveled in potential broke as I progressed through. So I kind of just focused on seeing what each chapter wanted me to learn as if I was a new player. Like chapter 1 is obviously the introductory chapter, where it's not hard. It just they want you to learn how function cards work and how map tiles work, and there's still tutorials as you're going through it. So that one tries to get you set up for everything that you encounter later. And then Sector 2 is kind of like your first stat check, where the game makes sure that you know how to level your dolls, and you know how to potential break them, and you know how to use tile buffs. And if you know how to do these things, it's probably going to be very easy, because they give you tile buffs like all the way through for resetting cooldowns, or making someone immediately have aggro even if you're not using Croak. And then 3...
Yes.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so you were talking about teams. The one I was using was double sniper, double healer, and a guardian.
So were you using Croak, or were you using...
Yeah. Of course, because of the tent.
Right.
It's...
So that was probably like a really safe team, wasn't it? But obviously,
Yeah.
I know for a fact that you had to farm, potential materials for those snipers and healers, though. But,
Yeah, I had to, but I think it was worth it, like, because the two double snipers did so much DPS,
Yeah.
and the healers could keep up Croak.
right, you
Then-
the trade off was progression speed for safety is what it was.
Yeah.
It's what it seems like, at least. Because without Saul, everything's going on Croak. There's a little advantage
Actually, I
and
was
disadvantage
using,
for running one front line, and that's
Yeah.
everything gets focused on Croak. So you have
I was using Fresnel as kind of an off tank because of her
for
passive.
passive, right, because she has a chance to
Yeah.
negate an attack entirely.
Yeah. So, in chapter 5, I was having I was having fun with in the double teleport map. I used to put Fresno on the sniper tile way in the back,
Right.
so enemies would teleport to her, then try to hit her, but she would teleport away. So that gives me a few seconds to get them lower on HP,
Right.
I have returned.
and that was really
Hello.
fun. Hi.
So
Welcome
what are
back.
those?
I was just kind of like analyzing each chapter, and people were saying what they were using. But I mentioned chapter 1 was the intro zone where you learn everything. Chapter 2 is kind of like your first stat check. The game makes sure you know what you're doing a little bit. Chapter 3 wants to make sure you know how like a map's mechanic works. Because if you take advantage of those flower tiles, then the chapter is really easy. Because
Yeah.
you can just stick Persica on one of them, and she just continually heals nonstop. So that was an easy way to get through it. Or really anybody with like a really powerful skill like
What
Groove,
What
for
exactly
example.
did the flower tiles even do?
There was two different kinds. There was one that was just like a complete flower, or one that teleported you onto a complete flower tile, and that complete flower tile would immediately reset a character's active skill cooldown whenever the flower spawned. And the other one was kind of like a not a complete circle on the flower tile.
Yeah.
It was like a dotted circle, and that just reduced their active skill time almost entirely, but not quite.
Okay.
And in the previous testing period, these tiles weren't that good because you had to stay on them in the other test.
Yeah.
And then this time you didn't. As
Oh,
long as
God.
you were the last person to stand on that tile, then the flowers
You'd get the buff.
still yes, the flowers still go to that character.
God.
But if an enemy walks over that tile that the character
They'll-
was standing
they'll
on, then
take
they
it.
start getting the flowers. But it also worked the same way. Like if an enemy starts on a flower tile when the map starts, if one of your characters walks over that flower tile, then they start getting it.
Yeah.
So there was a little bit of strategy there, but overall it was just checking to make sure you knew how those buff tiles worked.
Yeah.
Or buff tiles in general. It's like this is a very big advantage, and you should be aware of buff tiles. That's kind of like the message of what Chapter 3 is trying to tell you, is to take advantage of what the map's giving you.
Yeah.
And then Chapter 4 was both a stat check and an awareness check. And I say awareness because this is the chapter that really beats into your head, or tries to anyway, that proper unit positioning can make things significantly easier. And that's what I mentioned by knowing like the run speed of Soul, and knowing to start her a little further back so she runs onto a buff when the map starts.
Yeah.
And knowing how enemy targeting works. Like, they always target who is closest to them, unless they're standing on like a sniper tile right at the start. So you can kind of like position your tank in like weird spots, so an enemy will try to target them, but sometimes that enemy will not be able to get to them because there's other enemies in front of them.
Yeah, basically.
Because enemies can't stack on each other, you know.
I had that kick me in the ass a few times myself.
Yeah,
My
that's
units
a problem
blocking
that you
each
have
other.
to be aware of, and that's something you can take advantage of for the enemies. So
That's good to know. That's interesting.
right. So if there's an enemy that hits really hard, and you don't want to deal with that right when the match starts, you can kind of position. There was a few map tiles in 4 where you could position Croak to get aggro from that enemy, and that enemy would have to go around blocks on the map and even break blocks to try to get to her. So it delayed their arrival quite a bit.
That's really something to think about there.
I posted a picture of what I used.
I usually ran Hubble,
Sakuya, of course. Let's see.
Hubble, Max, Persica, Croak, Betty, Saul. Who else did I have on that team? I don't even remember. Give me a second here. Betty, Max, Saul, Persica.
What about company
Hubble.
bonus? Did anyone use any company bonus besides 42 lab? Because I know I used
I didn't.
42 lab the entire way through.
Yeah,
and that allowed me to.
It was really nice.
That allowed me to
For a
cheese
good
a
while,
lot
I
of the
used
early game.
A 42 lab 5 doll bonus and Svarog 3 doll. So that was really fun to use.
Svarog
lot of
seems,
bonuses.
gives you...
yeah, Svarog 5 doll bonus seemed really strong because it lets you get 3 function card choices after each battle, and then each floor, not just stage, each floor, you had a chance to re-roll those function cards, and when you re-rolled them, they were guaranteed to be orange. So that was incredibly strong.
Oh wow.
Yeah. It had a lot more consistent use than 42 labs. But 42 labs, the thing about 42 labs is it's stronger the sooner you can use it in the stage. Because it fills up your function card stock completely with random cards for that one fight. So I would rush a purple zone immediately and use that.
Oh, that's way
That
too good
skill.
of an idea. Fuck,
Yeah,
why did I not think of that?
every stage I would rush to the closest purple zone, use the 42 lab bonus to gain an advantage, and then I would clear it and obviously get the bonus from the purple zone.
PNC guides pre-release only here. We're doing this for you. This is a public service.
God, I wanna play
Right.
PNC again.
Those purple zone buffs I found out really quickly were really strong. All of them. And 42 labs bonus was really
The random
really,
battle buffs as well.
yeah, really advantageous to gaining an edge on each stage that otherwise, if I didn't have that 42 lab skill, I probably wouldn't have been able to beat those purple zones so easily.
Yeah, I usually didn't really go for purple zones because I knew that the buffs were really strong. Usually I wasn't. So
Yeah, they're strong.
Having played more casually, I'm just kind of small brain on the game, just like GFL. So absolutely business as usual.
Mm-hmm. There's definitely a lot of there's a lot of like nuances that you learn as you start going through. Like obviously how to take advantage of company buffs like that, and then there's certain enemy skills that you can stun or push them out of with ultimates or doll skills. And I think an issue someone raised for this testing period though was a lot of enemies had super armor now, so that wasn't really a particularly
like the shields.
Like what?
Like the shields?
No, super armor. They would like glow red whenever they would use their skills. So that meant they couldn't be stunned or CC'd out of using it.
Okay.
But like the corrupted enemies in chapter 5, like the squids and the tanks, they had very powerful skills, but they could also be CC'd out of using them. So that was pretty useful. Although once we started using the level 13 professor skill, that option kind of went off the table.
I mean, not like it's really necessary at that point much more.
Well, it was a little bit. It was kind of like a trade-off where it was like you're really betting on doing enough damage to get through the stage before these certain skills blow you the hell up.
Start to pop
but
up,
if you're running the stun professor skill, you could time it so you stun them right when they use that skill. Right. Like the squids, they did like a really strong AoE attack, and especially the tanks, they gave a buff to themselves and everyone around them that reflected damage done to them. Like Faith, the boss, and that was a big killer. If it came at the wrong time.
That just sounds nasty.
Yeah, it was a particularly nasty buff. And you really had to pay attention to it. Because you don't want to be marking something that has reflect on it for amplified damage, and then it's coming right back to you.
Yeah, it's coming right back. That's...
You're just slapping yourself in the face at that point.
I can totally see like an animation of that like happening with Saul. Just like someone making a fluffy animation of her just hitting an enemy over their head and just her sword bonking back at her.
Saul is great.
Saul is fantastic.
She's a fantastic character. And everybody on CN calls her Big Sis Saul, and whenever there's streams and they mention her, they call her Saul Nay. So she's a really popular character already, and she got buffed in the third test. She wasn't that great. She wasn't impressive in the second test, but she got buffed a little bit, and her ultimate does kind of clap now. So under the right conditions, it's got a huge range. Yeah, in CBT2 you couldn't target it, and you kind of just had to like let her fire it off at whoever she was targeting. And I'm not even completely sure it was a cone back then, because we couldn't see like the range of it. But now it's a cone. So and it's a really, really, really big cone. So she could potentially like hit the entire map with this big wave of damage.
Yeah, I had a few occasions of that on live fire actually, where she was actually like a better pick than Betty on her ult.
Right. And ultimates are really strong in Project NeuroCloud, but the issue seems to be unanimous across the board that having a collective energy bar for them is really kind of like stifling the potential of the gameplay. Because you have to choose like one ult or the other. It's not like every individual character gets to blow off their stuff. So you had situations where like damaging ults were not really that good when you were using characters like Jin, who increased not only your attack stats but also healed you at the same time. You had Hubble, who could completely reposition an entire map with hers and do true damage at the same time. Hubble's is incredible, and that made ultimates like Soul, while pretty good in certain situations, not as desirable if you had these other characters.
One thing about the ultimates that I really wish they did was like you have in Blue Archive the X skills. You have a shared energy bar for them, but each skill has a different cost.
Yeah, that's the way
that
Blue
would be
Archives
really
does it,
cool.
yeah. That would
see
be
that,
cool,
but-
yeah.
I think personally I would like each character to have their own individual bar though. So you're not sitting there like, oh, I need to save this entire bar for the boss, you know?
Yeah,
Because I
I
know
did
I'm
find
going to
myself doing
need
that quite a
Persica's
bit.
heal. Yeah, that was the problem for everyone. Is we were holding on to double ultimate bars for like an entire floor of a stage.
Yeah.
Because we knew we were gonna need Persica or Hubble's ultimate as soon as we got to the boss stage. And even though being able to heal or use an ultimate like in one of the nodes prior to the boss stage would have been incredibly useful, we just couldn't. We had to bite the bullet and get through as much as we could without an ultimate.
Yeah, I've had a lot of that myself. Where it's like, just using Betty's ulti would make it so much easier, but like, no, I gotta keep it for the boss. I have a purple zone coming up.
I know Krog's gonna eat this 30k sniper shot from the corrupted sniper as soon as I get to the boss, so I need to save Persica's ultimate to negate it. So you know, like it's situations like that where you're the gameplay's frustrating, not because you can't figure something out, but because you're kind of like forced to hold on to something you should be able to freely use.
Something else about the ults that I want to mention. Holy shit, Liverless have outdone themselves on the animations. Like, if nothing else, that's my flat out favorite part of the game.
They are really good. I can't wait to see ultimates for people who don't have them. Like Groove is a great character, but she has no ultimate yet, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm really excited to see what kind of ultimates they give characters who don't have them yet.
I'm still waiting for the day Liverless officially rebrand to Sunborn animation. It's gonna happen someday. I'm calling it. Cause like the only thing they've really done is like, what other projects have Liverless done? Aside from Healing and Madness Chapter and now PNC.
I'm not sure.
Cause
Did
like
they do the Sangvis and Naito ultimates in Girls Frontline?
I think they might have. I'm not sure.
Because they look a little similar. At least in like the choreography.
I know they've done the animated PVs since we started getting them. Since the first animated PV and then Polarized Light after that.
Right.
They did that one as well, I think. But like, GFL was the first time I ever heard of them. Then again, so was Great Firebird, and I watched Xian Ping Jiating before that. So I didn't know they made that. So who knows what else they've done. Google sure as hell doesn't tell me. Because this is China.
There's a lot of new artists being used in these new games, and even Girls Frontline, where they're not really unknown artists. They're just artists that have fallen under the radar for one reason or another, be it like the cultural difference, or just their work hasn't been like publicly posted everywhere.
Something I do kind of want to see is, I know it's probably not that easy logistically, but maybe get some Western artists on board as well. Have we had any like major Western artists?
I don't think so. I think I've seen in the past that certain Western artists were interested.
Like, holy fuck, I'd save my soul to get RiceNet on the roster.
And there was even there's even been a few times where Micah has put out like a staff call where they were hiring and they put out like a page to the community like, hey, if you're interested, this is what we're looking for and this is how you contact us. And if people wanted, that were English speakers that wanted to do it, they would probably be, something that they were able to do. Because they have English speakers over there. It's not like if you send in an English resume, they're just gonna, not look at it.
If nothing else, there's always the community managers.
Right, and they speak English.
They have to speak English.
I promise you to speak English. They do. So, I mean, like, if they do ever do like a casting call again for anything, because they do community calls for system engineers and artists and animators and all kinds of things occasionally.
That's actually
especially.
Sorry,
especially with their new games coming out is what I wanted to say is probably the best time is to send that in.
Yeah, if
that's something they want to do.
Everyone heard that?
Yep.
Get those resumes going in.
Yep.
Go and flood their hello inbox.
Exactly. If you want to be the first English speaker artist to work on Girls Frontline or any of their upcoming games, this is the time to do it, because honestly, they have brand new teams working on all these games that are separate and probably looking for talent, even if it's just a commission.
Honestly, I think I might have actually been blacklisted on their hello email at this point. Because
why is that?
I've sent like 6 emails over the last year or so, with never getting a response about their old works. And I never got a response. And at this point, I think I'm probably just blacklisted. So I just gotta grab another goddamn email and use that.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's also I guess it depends on how, what you're asking and what whoever's looking, because I know they have their interns looking at their email support. They don't have they just have their side.
It's not the support email though. That's the thing. It's not the support email.
Well, it's the same thing. Email. They have their interns passing stuff off. So. So you gotta
persevere, I guess.
You gotta win the heart of somebody who's probably underpaid and in there for quote experience. You gotta really give them a reason to push it up top.
That's actually the thing.
Maybe slide in a gift card or something. Here you go, man. Slide. Send it up to the king up there for me.
I hate that I can actually see myself doing that. Please never say that again.
Here you go. Slide this $50 gift certificate up to Apple. We won't mention that, That's for you.
But, coming back to my question, I don't know if you know this. I've been wondering, does Hokar work on site?
He does. He is in China. Yeah, they're both in China. Yeah. So he does work on site, I believe. If he doesn't work on site, he's at least in China.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, fair enough.
But he does. I believe he mentioned at one point that he does work in the office, and he does post pictures during the Q&A of the cats. So.
Oh right, yeah.
So I'm assuming that he does work in the actual office. Otherwise they just keep sending him pictures of the cats for the Q&A.
Which probably isn't it's a possibility.
It's a possibility, but I think it's more likely that he just works in the office and he gets the pictures when they're asked for.
We did get a short view of Vector, I think, during the anniversary Q&A, right? Or one of the interview thingies.
I think it was that they were in the background and
on the VA interview, I think, right?
Yeah, they just pointed an arrow, this is me in the background, but it was just the back of their head. their community involvement is really impressive.
Yeah, I mean
overall.
that's the one thing I will always praise Mika for over anyone else. Because like, honestly, I'm like right on the verge of like dropping Arknights because there's no long-term motivation and like the community support is so fucking bad.
Is it?
It basically doesn't exist.
I was in the Arknights server like when it first came out, and I think I quickly left because it seemed a little draconian. There
Oh
was a
yeah,
lot of rules.
the Arknights server is a fucking dumpster fire.
And especially like the lore room where someone like me would have typically hung out. There was a lot of rules, and it felt really suffocating
Yeah.
to even like post there. Because if you say the wrong thing, you know, there was like, I think there was like a 3-strike rule or something like that.
Yeah, that's the fun part.
So those YoStar servers are,
But like,
and I don't think it's really a fault of the devs, obviously, because YoStar is the publisher.
yeah, of course not.
So YoStar
We have some other things to say about Hypergrift, but let's not get into that.
I know exactly what you're talking about, but
I think we all know.
But yeah, the YoStar servers are a little restrictive. I'll say,
Yeah.
in short, is just.
But like that's another thing, like which is just a perfect example of Sunborn's community engagement is there's a fucking pirated copy of their previous game hosted on the server itself. And
Exactly.
It's pinned. It's not just
Right.
hosted there, it's pinned to
Yeah,
one of their
it's
channels.
pinned. We're talking about Bakery Girl.
Yeah,
so
we're
if
talking
you
about
want to
CBG,
play
yeah.
Bakery Girl, you can join the Girls Frontline official server right now.
Yeah.
Go to the lore room and check out the pins. It is pinned there. The game itself is pinned there for you to download, along with the translation patches. And they're
That's where I got
completely
it.
fine with
Because back when I downloaded it, I posted like to Twitter, "Hey, I got it. I got the goods." And I was just like, "Holy shit! How the fuck did you get it? Why is it in
And
English?"
they-
And I'm like,
they even-
it's literally just on the server. It's right over
And,
there."
you know,
I just like went to the drawer and picked it up.
I think Micah has a lot of fun with their community,
Yeah.
especially.
And you know the
is-
fact that they have CBG pinned up there, that it's literally just there.
And I have
That
I
gave
have
me
a
a
very big,
lot
I have
of-
a very big feeling that Yuzong takes a special delight in posting even like a vague sentence on his Weibo, because as soon as he does, people are disseminating it like, "Oh, what does it
Yeah, of
mean?
course,
What does he mean by this? It's a Call of Duty reference.
It is probably.
We're gonna get betrayed. We're gonna get betrayed, Mars. We're gonna get betrayed. This is it."
Fucking Shizo.
You're just all crazy.
Like the fact alone that CBG is pinned in the official Discord alone, that gave me a lot of confidence for going forward with Bakehouse. For actually posting it and making it public.
And let's not forget that they post official community. They post community made guides in the game itself.
Yeah, that fucking
Like-
took me
like-
off guard when Isomer happened.
Like they are really supportive of
Because that was
community
like the first
content
time, right?
creation.
Isomer.
Mm-hmm.
That
Yep.
took me off guard because I was like, yo, that's actually big. Not a single other developer would do that.
It's very helpful too, because
Yeah.
some people might, especially new players, might not know where to find these player made guides.
Yeah.
And they're really helpful, even if only for some quality of life
And I
stuff,
mean-
like farming crates,
For
But
fucking...
and then they put them front and center on the ticker of the game, and that's
Yeah.
very helpful.
Hello? Ranking showdown?
Yeah, they
just
they put
just-
the speedrun contests up there, everything.
literally
Like
just 3 guys memeing actually got them to 1, make a goddamn Twitch account. actually give us English live streams. B, they gave those 3 fuckers control of the thing. And
Yeah.
C, they actually fucking pulled off an esports event.
They did. Hokor gave his personal testing account to the Chinese players.
Yeah.
So
he
they
gave
could
his media
participate
account
in
to
it.
testing players.
so they could actually participate in this little esports thing where they
and it worked well.
They saw who got the most score.
Like the first stream was
in
rough,
the ranking,
but everything else was fine.
Right. There was a few technical difficulties, but they got ironed out. But overall, the experience was really cool.
Yeah.
You know, because
I would say
it's
we
definitely
should
not
repeat it
something
for
any
PL.
other mobile game does. Because it was like a genuine esports event. It was N versus CN. You know, our top rankers versus their top rankers.
Yeah. I do genuinely think we should repeat it for PL. Because shit was good. It was really fun to watch. And I do think that if there was like a handful of kinks iron out, it could be like a genuine event.
Right. Just some simple growing pains. You know, it's like that with any new kind of stream content. You know, there's growing pains, but you know it gets better over time, and I think it's something they should continue.
Yeah. Anyways, I think we're kind of running out of juice here. It's been almost 2 hours, and like for 30% of the time, we've actually talked about PNC. Once more, not talking about the focus.
Hey, we got some gameplay talk. We got some lore and schizophrenic hours in. You know, it's all good. You know, now it's time to put the straitjacket back on and go back into the asylum where I belong.
we do actually need to get a full Shiitsu episode on record. Like just yes, we do.
Full on Arkham Asylum. Just a bunch of all the insane conspiracy
get
theorists.
Everyone in here. Fuck it, get Van in here while we're already at it. He's got Discord, which he actually fucking lied to me on Twitter. That's right. If you're listening to this, man, fuck you for lying to me about not having Discord because you don't speak English. Fuck you.
We can get a whole group of schizos in here for sure.
Yeah.
Because there's definitely some wild out there theories that have not been brought up yet, and I won't mention because that'll spoil the surprise for later. But if they're listening to this, they know what those theories are, and they know how crazy they sound.
Yeah.
And how true they probably are.
Anyways, I think that's been it for now. Since you might wonder how we all got here, join our Discord. We're all there now, whether we talk or not. We just want to build a comfy community here. Anyways, otherwise, the links to all the social media profiles of our guests and ourselves are down in the description, so be sure to check them out. And I'd say, until next time, have a good one.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.